Good morning, students. Welcome to the virtual classrooms. We are studying it as in the states of matter. We are studying it particularly a gaseous state, in which we already studied it. The first one, that is a Boyle's law. Right? Today we will be going through Charles' law. Right? Now we know it that when we plotted it as a PVT, we saw it that we are having it as in the relation for the Charles law as between volume and temperature, keeping pressure constant. Right? So now how can I write the statement? At constant pressure, volume of a definite quantity of a gas is now see, while I was writing the statement, I added one word, absolute temperature. Right? Till now we were saying it temperature, temperature, temperature. Now what is absolute temperature? Or why it became compulsory to write it? If the statement is written at constant pressure, volume of a definite quantity of a gas is directly proportional to its temperature, the statement is completely wrong. Right? The absolute word is compulsory to be written in the statement. Now what is reason behind it? Right? Just as in one of the example, I am just putting it as an example which can be asked to you as a give reason also. Right? The statement shows that direct volume is directly proportional to the temperature. That means if the volume increases, temperature increases. If the temperature is decreased, volume will decrease. Right? They are directly proportional. The law accordingly. Now if I am not using the word absolute over there, what will happen? Let's check. Right? Now I am putting it as in, if V1 is doubled, the temperature of the gas, I will write the complete statement. Right? If temperature is 25 degrees Celsius, the volume of the substance of the gas is 10 ml. By rising the temperature and making it 50 degrees Celsius, volume is not doubled. Volume is not doubled. See, I wrote it 25 degrees Celsius. I made it 50 degrees Celsius. That means the temperature is doubled? No. Actually, the temperature is not doubled. The reason is the temperature over here, T, it's written as 273.15 degrees Celsius, 273 plus degrees Celsius. That means 273.15 plus 25 will become 298.15 K. Right? That is T1. If I am putting T2, that is 273.15 plus 50. That means you will get it as just a moment. We will be getting it as 323.15. Now let me know it. Is the temperature doubled? No. how can the volume be doubled? If the temperature is not doubled in the Kelvin temperature, how can the volume be doubled? Or by doing the same thing, if I say that the temperature, I'm putting it as a temperature, I'm putting the volume, this is 0, right? This is 10, 20, 30, this is 5, 10, 15. If I say that at 25 the volume is suppose 10. So if I increase the temperature, the graph is increasing. So if I decrease the temperature, what should happen? This graph, where it should be? It should actually come to this, but it's not coming it like that. It's going it into some other direction, right? It's not becoming 0. This is becoming it as a virtual graph, right? So what does it show? This is not the factor. Why so? So to understand this thing, actually the Kelvin and the Charles, they work together and they try to find out the answer for it, that if the temperature is taken in degrees Celsius, why it does not. So for that case, or again, why it is 273.15 is added, why specifically that? The reason is, by plotting the graph, they found it that the volume becomes 0 at minus 273.15 degrees Celsius, right? Not at 0 degrees Celsius. Volume, if the it's a 25, volume is 25, 25 degrees Celsius. If the temperature is made 0, will the volume become 0? No, volume did not become 0. So to understand that factor, it was a Kelvin who studied it, and by a combined study of Kelvin and Charles, we are going to derive that why we are writing the absolute temperature, right? This was one of the give reasons that will be given to you. The temperature is not doubled, so volume cannot be doubled, right? So to understand that factor, or to find out the relation for it, we will be having it as the study that told us that they studied it, that every rise in temperature by 1 degree C, the volume increased by 1 upon 273.15 of its initial volume. They found it that if 1 degree rises there, volume is not doubled, or volume is not getting it like that, it's increased only by 1 by 273.15 of its initial volume. So from this, when they wanted to study it, they told it as, let's V at time t equals to V0, that is the initial volume, T upon 273.15. Now here small t indicates degrees Celsius, temperature in degrees Celsius. So Vt, volume at a specific temperature in degrees Celsius, is equals to volume at 0 degrees Celsius plus T upon 273.15. This is what the rise that we got it, right? So if I substitute it, if I say it as, this is the rise, let's take it as an V0 common, 1 upon T upon 273.15. We will be getting it as Vt, right? Now Vt is equals to V0 1 plus 1 upon 273.15, because we took it as an V0 common. If I take the LCM, we get it as Vt is equals to V0 273.15 plus T upon 273.15, right? Now here 273.15 plus T, can I say that it's a capital T? That is, here small t was degree Celsius, capital T will be in the Kelvin scale. So this one is going to give me a Kelvin, right? This one is T0. So we get it as Vt is equals to V0 T, right? That is at T degrees Celsius. T at T degrees Celsius upon T0. So substituting the value, we get it as Vt upon T is equals to V0 upon T0, and that is the reason why we wrote it as an absolute zero. That is the reason why we wrote it as absolute zero. And from this equation, we can say that V is proportional to T, right? And it's a proportional to capital T, not small t, right? And that's the reason why the word absolute is necessary to be written in our theory, right? Okay, is it clear? So from this what we can say it, we can go for V1 upon T1 is equals to V2 upon T2. This is the equation that we are going to get it, initial and final values. If we put it, we got it as V by T equals to K. So from this formula we are going to have it as a numericals. So for Charles' law we will be having this formula. For Boyle's law we derived it as P1 V1 equals to P2 V2. For Charles' law we will be having it as a V by T equals to K. So that means V1 by T1 equals to V2 by T2, the formula. Okay. Similarly to the Boyle's law, we will also have a graph. The graph here, the graph represented, the graph shown between V and T is known as isobaric graph. Now what does it indicate? Isobar means constant pressure, isobar, and the whole Charles' law we are depending on the constant pressure. So whatever the graph of V against T, we are going to plot it. We are going to plot it for constant pressure. So we term it as an isobar. Here the graph we are going to get it. It's an interesting. I'm going to get it as, this is V, this is T. I'm going to get it T over here 0, right? The T I'm going to get it over here 0. Then what will happen? I'm not going to get it from the initial. I'm not going to get the graph starting point as initial. My starting point will be minus 273.15 degrees C. That is my initial temperature, the starting point, because at minus 273 degrees Celsius we will find out that the volume will become 0, and we are going to get it over here P1, P2, P3. P1 is greater than P2 is greater than P3. The graph we are going to get it as, less than. P1 less than P2 is less than P3 here, right? So that is the graph that we are going to get it. Thus from this theory we can say that, particularly from this theory we can say that the volume of the gas at minus 273.15 degrees Celsius is going to have the volume 0. At minus 273.15 degrees Celsius, the volume of a gas is going to become 0. So in fact, all the gases, whatever we are going to have it, they are going to liquefy before this temperature, because at that temperature the volume is going to become 0 for the gases component, right? So all the gases, they obeys the Charles' law at very low pressure and high temperature. The gases obeys the Charles' law at low pressure and high temperature according to the Charles law, right? Is it clear? Okay, now before we go it for the further Gay-Lussac's law, let's do it as some of the numericals based for it. Let's think it for Charles law, a certain numericals. Just I will copy down the numerical and then we will try to understand the data. First of all, let me copy down the data that I am having it. Sample of our gas is found. Okay, fine. Okay, now what is this showing me? A sample of a gas is found that the volume is 900 degree, 900 centimeter cube. So can I say that V1 is given to me 900 centimeter cube, right? At 27 degrees Celsius. So I've been given T1 27 degrees Celsius. Calculate the temperature at which the volume becomes 300 centimeter cube. I want to find out at which temperature. That means I want to find out T2. Right? Now see, again I'm going to have the formula as V1 upon T1 as a capital T1. But here it's given to me in the Celsius. It's a compulsory to convert it into Kelvin. That is T1 will become as 273.15 plus 27, that is 300.15. Right? This is compulsory. You have to convert the Celsius into Kelvin. Remember, now after studying this theory, for chemistry, whenever you are taking the temperature, take it as always absolute temperature. That means for numericals, for theories, for whatever the factors you are going to indicate it, always try to indicate the temperature in Kelvin. Right? For any numericals, for any chapter, anything, wherever, the complete chemistry, it based on absolute temperature. It never depends on pure temperature, absolute temperature. That means it should be always in Kelvin. Right? So what is the formula? V1 by T1, that is equals to V2 by T2. We will be given out V1 300.15, V2 300, T2 we want to find out. So if we substitute it, T2 is equals to 300.15 by 900. Right? Again, simple calculation. 3 3s are 9. So this 3, 100.05. So T2 is 100.05. Right? As K. The unit you are going to put it, the unit is going to be a very important formula. So it is measured in terms of Kelvin. Is it clear? Okay. Similarly, Charles' law, it's again the same thing. So, Gay-Lussac's law, the third law, it's almost nearly same. So let's do it the Gay-Lussac's law also today, right? Again, the theory we were having it, PVT, Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, NR. So we are going to have now relation between pressure and volume. So what is the law? We are going to get it at constant volume, pressure of a definite gas. Pressure of a definite gas is directly proportional to its now onwards. Already I told you, now we will be always doing it as an absolute word is going to become compulsory for us. So at constant volume, pressure of a definite gas is directly proportional to its absolute temperature. So we are going to get the relation P is proportional to T, P is equals to KT, P by T equals to K. Therefore we will be getting the formula P1 V1, P1 by T1 is equals to P2 by T2. We are going to get it as an equation as P1 by T1 equals to P2 by T2, right? Okay, for this also, if I go it for graphical representation, if I try to get its graph, what we are going to get the graph for it? We will be getting the graph as P against T, and we will be getting it from origin. We will be getting it this graph as from the origin, which indicates that this is V1, V2, V3, V1 will be less than V2 is less than V3, right? We will be getting it as V1 less than V2 less than V3, right? So what is this graph known as? The graph of P against T is known as isochoric graph. Isochore means constant volume, right? Remember these three terms, isothermal, isobaric, isobar and isochore. Isochore means constant volume, isobar means constant pressure, isotherm means constant temperature. All these three graphs are going to be important for us, right? Okay, let's do one numerical based on this also, right? And then we will complete our lecture for today. One numerical based on Gay-Lussac's law, right? Again, let's have it as an one of the data for it. The data is given to me, particularly an iron tank contains helium gas at a pressure of 2.5 atm at 25 degrees Celsius. The tank can withstand a maximum pressure of 1080, the building in which tank has been placed catches fire. Predict whether the tank will blow first or melt. The melting point of iron is 1535 degree Celsius. Okay, now what is this question given to me? It is told that I am having one iron tank in which helium gas is filled. Right? Now helium gas is filled at 2.5 atmospheric pressure at 25 degrees Celsius. Now this is suppose a tank. Helium gas is filled in it. The temperature of this tank is 25 degrees Celsius. Now I am heating it. That means here the building in which it was placed, it has caught fire. Right? That means it is being heated. This tank is going to be heated because there is a large amount of the fire in the building. Right? Now this one will be heated. Whether this tank, that means the iron, will melt out or will the pressure inside the container will become more than 10 atmosphere and it will blast away. Because the holding capacity of this tank is only up to 10 atmospheric pressure. After that it will blast. So whether it will first of all melt or whether it will first of all blast, that you will have to find out. Now what is the condition? If the 1535 degrees Celsius is the melting point of the iron, if the temperature is reached of the container 1535 degrees Celsius first before it becomes 10 atmospheric pressure inside, then the iron will melt so that the tank won't blast. But the temperature does not reaches to 1535 degrees Celsius, and before that the pressure inside the container becomes 10 degrees Celsius, 10 atmospheric pressure, then what will happen? It will blast. So let us take it. What is initial pressure? 2.5. Temperature, now see, already I told you 273.15 plus 25, that is 298.15 K. We have to always take it in Kelvin, right? So this also we will have to find out in Kelvin. But before that, let's find out what is the temperature, right? P2, 10 atm. The T2, what is the maximum temperature that can be? So P1 by T1 is equals to P2 by T2, 2.5 upon 298.15, that is equals to 10 by T2. So now let's substitute it. T2 is equals to, we will be getting it as 10 into 298.15 by 2.5. So what will happen? We will be getting it as 4 into 298.15, right? We will be getting it as an this much Kelvin. The temperature, if it becomes up to this, after that it will blast, right? Now this shows me melting point of iron, it's a 1535 degrees Celsius, that is equals to 1535 plus 273.15. We will be getting it as this much Kelvin. Before that it will. So from the result we can say that tank will blast. Is it? So that result shows us that the tank will blast before it melts. Is it clear? Clear to everyone? Okay. Right? Okay, we did it as in Charles law and Gay-Lussac's law. Still we are being there with an Avogadro's law to study. We'll take it in our next lecture. Thank you.